Hafa everybody, and welcome back to KUAM News Extra. Please welcome to our studios here in Harmon, Victoria Leon Guerrero, and she's going to be talking about the latest publication out of the Richard Flores Taitano Micronesia Area Research Center. It is called The Children of Chuuk Lagoon by Dr. Mary Spencer. Dr. Spencer is the Dean Emerita of the University of Guam College of Liberal Arts and Social Sciences, and is a retired professor of psychology and Micronesian studies at Mark. So good to see you. It's been a while since I've seen you. The last time I think we even spoke, was when you were at the legislature, but now you're at Mark and back at the University of Guam. So
yeah, I'm really enjoying myself. Yeah.
Well, tell us about this this book, Children of Chuuk Lagoon.
Sure. So Dr. Spencer, she spent about a month in an island in the Chuuk Lagoon called Rama Nam, and she observes a group of 6 to 14-year-old school children, and she observed them in the school setting and then at home and in the community. And what she was looking at was early childhood development, so looking at their learning styles, but also what are their roles in their family, what was their home life like. And she also interviewed adults in their lives, so their parents, their teachers, and community leaders about just about their lives, but also what were their goals for the future of their children. And so that was also really interesting too, to hear from the adults like what they had thought would be really important for the children. And she basically put this all together and you know, gave a lot of her observations. So she has different tables that look at how much of the time in the classroom is spent learning about their own culture and in their own language, and what are the different subjects that are talked about in the classroom, but also the teaching styles that teachers use. And so I think that's really useful for educators on Guam, because we do have a large population of students that come from Chuuk, to really see what's the difference between the classroom learning that's happening in Chuuk as opposed to what they are thrown into when they come to classrooms on Guam. And so I found that particularly interesting.
Right. You know, Dr. Spencer she's retired. She's living in Hawaii, but she's going to be on Guam this week for the book launching event. But you are intimately familiar with the book, right?
Yeah. So I was tasked with the wonderful job of editing the book, and so it was really interesting, you know, to edit it and sort of go back and forth with her and learn more about the project. Because, you know, she really applied her background in studying early childhood development to this setting. And I think that it was really, for me being an educator myself, it was really interesting to learn more about it. And but yeah, so I edited the book and really felt that a lot of what would be interesting for our community is really, like I said, understanding the differences between classrooms in Chuuk and the classrooms here. But there was also a portion where she asked the adults about their thoughts on migration because of the compact. And so for a lot of the adults, they really do feel the loss of their family members, and that their community is really sort of leaving. A lot of people are migrating out, and you know, the highest level of education in Rama Nam is 8th grade. So in order for these children to sort of pursue higher education, high school, they could go to the main island or to Guam or to the United States, and that's typically what happens. They migrate out for educational purposes. And so, you know, we often think about, well, what are the impacts on our community from people coming to Guam through the compact? But you know, it's very rare that we think about what happens there too when so many people leave. And so that was really interesting for me to learn more about through editing the book and reading the book.
And people will actually learn more if they actually attend the book launching event, because there's going to be a panel discussion, right? Tell us about that.
So, so Dr. Spencer will open the event with a presentation on her research and findings, which are in the book. And the book itself will be available for sale. And then we also have a panel discussion comprised of Dr. Walter, who is a former governor of Chuuk and a professor at the University of Guam, Debbie Rituzan, who's a policy analyst with Speaker Judy Wanpad, and she also graduated from law school and has a law degree, and interned in Washington, D.C. with one of the authors of the compact. And so she's going to sort of bring her legal knowledge and understanding of the compact and And our final panelist is Rose Trina Eladuk, and she was recently awarded the Guam Women Chamber of Commerce Scholarship, and she's an honor student at the university. And so we gave them advanced copies of the book, and we wanted to hear from their experiences and their knowledge, what they thought of the publication, but also to speak to this migration, right? What is it like to kind of have these different learning styles and then suddenly be in a classroom here or even in the US, and how does that affect a person's, educational experience, right?
I wanted to ask, just to go back to the book and how it focuses on the children of the Chuuk Lagoon and particularly in Rama Nam Island. In your discussions with Dr. Spencer, did she mention, why she selected Rama Nam instead of some of the other islands?
Yeah, she kind of talks about it a little in the book, because it is smaller and it's farther away from the main island. She felt that it would be a really interesting place to look into because of the culture still being much more intact. And then again, like I was saying, the education doesn't go up to the high school level. And so seeing what is it like when schools are only to a certain grade. And she also wrote in the book about how not all children go to school. And so it was only anywhere from a quarter to half the island in that age group went to school. So she actually felt that more research could be done as to what is life like for children that don't go to school at all, right? And so I thought that would be really interesting. And she really calls it a glimpse, and it really is kind of a glimpse because she really spent a month there. And so it would be really nice to see the research grow, that hopefully people will be inspired by some of her observations and some of her findings and take it to another level and kind of look into deeper issues that she discovered, or even first-person accounts of people from Rama Nam writing their story, would be really, really great. So I hope that the book, and I think Dr. Spencer in particular really hopes that the book inspires future research, right? Into
What's the population in Rama Nam?
that is a good question.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess you'll find out more, right, at the book presentation. And give us the details about that if people want to show up and attend.
So it'll be this Thursday, the 19th at 5:30 p.m. at the UOG Class Lecture Hall. And copies of the book will be available for sale, and Dr. Spencer will be there to present and ask any questions. And hopefully we'll have a really interesting and lively panel discussion too.
Well, thank you so much. It's good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, stay tuned. We're back with more news in the lecture.